Hello, welcome to the 6th episode of Stories from the Book of Hopes. I can't believe where the time has gone. We've already listened to 15 stories. Which one has been your favourite? I've had lots of different favourites. In fact, I think they're all my favourite. I hope you enjoy this episode. Today's first reading is read by Mrs. O'Reilly and is called The Best Feeling Ever. It's written by Fleur Hitchcock.
The Best Feeling Ever by Fleur Hitchcock. It's my birthday tomorrow. I'm sitting on my bed with my eyes closed, trying to send telepathic messages to my mum. I'm really hoping that my present will be a pony. I've dropped all the hints, galloped over broom handles, made a cardboard saddle and hung it over the banisters. I whinny, I paw the ground, and I even say yum when I eat raw carrots. I've been very consistent with this. I've done it for 2 years. Last birthday, I was given a plastic telescope and a sweater. I managed to hide my disappointment, but this time, maybe I'm going to be lucky. I scrunch my eyes tight and try to visualise that pony. It can be any real pony colour. I don't honestly care. Holding my breath, I try to send a pony picture from my head to Mum's. Thing is, we've moved house and there's a field at the back of our garden. It's not our field, but it has grass and a shed. Sometimes it's lived in by an old sheep, but the sheep has disappeared. The field has been empty for a whole week. Maybe it's waiting for a pony too. I pull the duvet up around my shoulders and think of horse names until I fall asleep, dreaming of wild gallops over the countryside. In the morning, I wake up before Mum and sit at the top of the stairs, waiting. She must hear me because she comes out of her room and gives me a wink. Is that a pony wink, I wonder? I've a surprise for you, she says. It's outside. I almost explode. I was right. She got the hint. It's going to be a pony. She's at the door, smiling. Ready? She asks, opening the door. For a moment, I stand, the smile jammed on my stupid face as I stare at a red bicycle, which is not and was never at any point in its life a pony. Wonderful, I say. A bike. How brilliant. And I hold the smile on my face and keep the tears out of my eyes. Darling, says Mum, hugging me. I knew you'd love it. Have a ride after breakfast. I eat cereal, stirring it round and round, blinking back the tears. And then I go out and sit on my new red bicycle. I roll it back and forth along the fence. And because it glides so smoothly, I let it freewheel down the slope to the road. We pick up speed and the bike slicks along the tarmac. I notice that I can see over the hedges, that the wind is catching my hair. My steed turns downhill again, and in a second we're galloping over the ground, shooting past potholes, whizzing under branches. Happiness fizzes up through my chest, and I pedal as fast as I can until I can't breathe anymore. Yes, I shout. Yes, yes. This is the best feeling ever.
Next is Mrs. Williamson, and she's reading Moses and the Watering Can by William Sutcliffe.
I'm going to be reading you a story today from the Book of Hope called Moses and the Watering Can. This is a very short and completely true story about a brave mouse who I met last summer. For about 15 years we have owned a cat called Moses, who was given that name because his fur makes him look as if he has a long white beard. The name suits him better than ever now because he is old and wise and accepts no nonsense from the 2 skittish kittens who have become his housemates. Last summer, one lunchtime, we found Moses, who is normally a calm and placid cat, in an angry and agitated state. What was he angry with? A watering can. Just to be clear, Moses is usually on very good terms with all our garden equipment. We've never seen him get angry with a watering can, or a hose, or a spade, trowel, so I went to investigate. I examined the watering can closely, looking right down into its musty depths, and as far as I could tell, it looked completely empty and not even slightly annoying. I asked Moses what was up, but he just looked at me as if I was an idiot, which is how he often looked at me. We carried on our lunch, wondering if our cat had gone mad. Through the window we saw Moses continue Operation Fight the empty watering can. He pushed it around, scratched it, stuck his paw into it as far as he could, and never let his attention waver for a second as he hovered beside it with the lethal focus of a hungry predator. When we'd finished lunch, we brought Moses into the house, closed the door and went out to look again at the watering can. This time I noticed that the watering can had a detachable nozzle, and when I pulled it off, what do you think I found? You've probably guessed. Yes, right there inside one of the only spaces in the whole garden big enough for a mouse, but too small for a cat's paw, was an extremely frightened mouse. We coaxed the mouse out onto the lawn, which took a while, and the mouse looked up at me and the rest of my family. At first it didn't seem to know what to do, as if it couldn't believe it had been saved. After a while, my daughter picked him, or her, it's hard to tell, up and carried her, or him, to a flower bed. We watched as the mouse slowly recovered itself and scurried away to safety. Was this an unusually clever mouse, or just lucky? How did it think of that hiding place? I often think that mouse, especially now, because she, or he, reminds me that bravery often isn't about noisy heroics, but about patience and quiet resourcefulness. It must have felt like such a long and terrifying wait, crouching in the head of a watering can, utterly cornered. But even though it must have doubted that escape was ever possible, that mouse did get away and found its way back home.
Our final reading today is a story read by Coach T, and it's called Stronger Than Magic by Sherry Burnell.
Hi everyone. Today, Two Sugars and I are going to read you a story by Kerry Burnell called Stronger Than Magic. In every time and in every land, there has always been something stronger than magic, something that holds the same power as love and the rising brightness of joy. It's like the feeling you get after a long bleak winter when you see the first spring butterfly dance between flowers, or when you go to sleep the night before your birthday with the promise of presents, or you catch the scent of the sea and hear its crashing waves moments before you see it. It's something born of moonlight and sunrise that has the same properties as a rainbow, and the littlest drop can help steady fear or make something that's impossibly sad seem ever so lighter. It's an energy and a wish and a dream that can make you feel braver. Its name, quite simply, is hope. Think of all those familiar stories we know, how hope has inspired them. The girl trapped in a tower without freedom or family. How frightened she must have been, how isolated. Yet still she stood at her window and she sang. The hope of a better dawn filled her with joy. So she sang and she sang until her song filled the forest and reached the ears of a traveller passing by. Or picture the boy setting out alone, cutting down a forest of brutal thorns that none had ever found their way through before. It is hope that makes him keep going, believing that he will find the sleeping kingdom beyond the thorns. Imagine the mermaid giving up her tail, finding the courage to venture into the unknown, into a world that she has never seen. The wonder of new possibilities making everything seem magical. The hope in her heart giving her grit and tenacity so she refuses to give up. Or remember the 3 children who found a shadowless boy and spiteful fairy and were told to think a happy thought so they could fly as well. Without those gorgeous memories or hopeful wishes, they would not have risen into the air, nor turned right at the second star and flown straight until morning. Hope doesn't have to be vast or grand. It's not a spell. It's an enchantment we already have within us. On a sad or overwhelming day when everything feels dark, if you can find just a little drop of hope, a memory of something wonderful, or a dazzling ambition, that tiny drop, no matter how small, will become your guiding star. When the world seems dark or frightening, look for a single star. Make that star a hopeful thought. When you're ready, search for another star until your sky is glittered with starlight, full of positive wishes. Then the dark won't seem as ceaseless and our dreams of a new future will be infinite and bright. Bright as each of you.